Good morning, and good morning to October the, what is it, 8th, 9th? Goodness me, isn't the month flying already? 9th, I think. Morning to Margaret, Carol, June, Christine, Pat, Viv, Anita, Eunice, Pat, Sue, Kathy, or good day, Kathy, or good night, or whatever. Diane, lovely to see you all here. I've come along with a bit of a tip for you today, and I'm going to use it and incorporate it with this. Can I just check though that you can hear me properly? Because I've tried to rearrange my filming area, which does mean that I've just realised that I'm a bit further away from the yeah, all okay. Thank you. I've realised that I'm a bit further away from the actual, you know what, computer basically, but the microphone. So if all is well, we will carry on. Sorry about that. Right, okay, so I have got one of the Find It Creation dies here. Now these come in all sorts of different frames and different things, and this one I thought was a little bit more suitable perhaps for a child at Christmas, maybe a grandchild or something. And so that's the one that I thought I'd show you what my tip is, that I actually saw and thought, do you know what, we'll give that a go. And believe it or not, it works quite well. So that's the die that I'm going to use. And this is it when it's out of the packet. So I'm going to cut it out from a satin gold card. Now, the outside of this die will cut all the way out, so I've just trimmed it so that it is a little bit smaller than my pack here. And I'm going to pop a little bit of tape into the centre there. Pop it onto my machine. Oops, if I can pick it up and run that through. Now, it's a very detailed die. So I may well have to, oh, blank screen, don't want blank screen. I may well have to turn it around because it is very, very detailed with all the bits. So I will just check, as always, one should. Can easily pop it back in. Let's just check. Oh, it's cut beautifully, hasn't it? Yep. I can see that that has all cut out. Just check every little bit. Yeah. So, okay. Don't need to worry about that then. All is well. Just scoop these bits off. Gosh. Tiny little bits there. So, now, why I said that I found something to do was I thought this looks beautiful, however you do it, but I thought we would do a little bit of paper piecing for it. So let's just take out the centerpiece here first so that we've got that all out. And you can see what a lovely frame we've got here. I'm just going to poke out these pieces. So this is sort of, it lends itself to doing a bit of paper piecing. I have to say, paper piecing is not my great forte, so I'm always looking for tips to make life a little bit easier. And I feel that I found one, so that's what I'm going to go ahead with and share with you today. And you may find that something that you might like to try as well. Although I have to say that this, sorry, the staff making a noise. You probably couldn't hear it, but I could. It's a beautiful frame without the paper piecing. So I will show you after I've done what I want to show you, what it looks like anyway. So if you have got the die, you may want to just cut it out ordinarily. It's not a problem, but I just thought we would have a go with doing it like this. So I'm not going to paper piece absolutely every piece. I'm just going to go for the flowers basically. So you can see as I'm going around that there are some flowers here which are sort of poinsettia like, being that it's called Christmas something or other, Christmas frame. Christmas animal frame. I don't know. Find it did a huge range, or does a huge range, but we don't seem to get them quite so much anymore. So hence why I've chosen one of these. But now I've got, I think, all the pieces out. You can see quite clearly, hopefully, that you've got so much detail on there already with your deer and your owl in the corner and the little birds and everything. But if you also see, you've got some flowers amongst here. Whoops, being attacked. And that's what I thought I would paper piece with. So let me just scoop these pieces away. All very well have a silicone mat, but it does tend to, well, the whole idea is that it keeps everything in place and doesn't move, which is great, but sometimes you want it to move. So I'm going to pop that to one side, and I'm going to take my frame again, and this time I'm going to take a piece of the satin red card, and that's the piece that I'm going to work with. However, I'm also going to take one of these, a tumble dryer sheet. So I happen to have Tesco's ones, but you could have any Persons that you like. And I'm going to pop that onto an old cutting mat. You can see that it's old behind it. Then I'm going to pop my piece of card over the top of that, and then I'm going to tape my piece there. So I'm just going to put a bit. I'm going to put it. I know that my flowers are around here. So I don't want it over one of the flowers particular. So I'm now going to run that through my machine and hope that this works out the same way that I did before, because one never knows. So then I'm going to carefully, I might need to push some of these pieces down. Carefully remove that. Yeah. And then you will see that all of these pieces are still in place on there. Turn it around so that you can see it. Can you see now where the flowers are and everything? So they are all in place, and they haven't come out or stuck to the back of the thing, because I've put this piece of tumble dryer sheet in. I also use the tumble dryer sheets if I get sticky dies. Now, generally one wouldn't do that, but sometimes when I'm preparing workshops, I do use the dies sort of like 40, 50 times. And sometimes after all that sort of length, they will get needing to be used again. So subsequently, I do find that works as well, to rub the back of the die, the cutting area of the die, with the tumble dryer sheet. So they're not just for tumble dryers, are they? So now, if I carefully, I can remove this. So this is waste, but you will be able to get a red frame out of all this as well. So that's handy too. I'm going to pop that to one side just for the moment, and I'm going to bring in my already prepared card base. So I've got a 7x7 card blank. I've then taken a piece of black card, which is about 15 centimetres. I've then taken a piece of antique copper, which I've cut down to 14 centimetres. And then I've taken one of my squares from the press cut nesting squares die set and just cut an aperture out of there. So I'm going to pop that together, because I think that's important that that's all together first. So I'm going to put that all into place. I'm going to do it as a top folder. So I've got the crease of my card at the top. I'll just make sure I've got the glue going there. I'll put my first layer on. And you really need this in place first to do this paper piecing, because otherwise you'll be sort of paper piecing into thin air, and not a good look. Now, ordinarily, I would put some foam behind this. And if I was going to do just my ordinary card, so let's just imagine that we don't want to do paper piecing. I would then put some foam behind this piece so that that lifts that up slightly. And then I would place my frame onto there. And then I would place my sentiment into the centre. However, if we're going to do paper piecing, it could potentially be a little bit dodgy to do it like that. And the reason being is if you look where the flower petals are, there are the odd bit where the petals are actually not quite, if I hold it into place properly, they're not quite, these petals here haven't got any area where you behind them if you've put it up on a frame, on some foam, you've got nothing to stick it to, which is clearly an issue. So subsequently, I'm going to do my paper piecing, but I'm going to lay this flat. But as I said, it really looks, let's just do that again. It really looks lovely, just like that, in all honesty. But however, that is not what the aim was. The aim was to show you how to cheat at paper piecing. Well, cheat isn't quite the word, but a tip of how to do it. So I'm just going to pop that into place into there. And then my frame. Let's just check what I've got all the little bits off. Don't want any of the little bits showing. So I could put spray onto this, but we won't. Now you do need a fine nozzle to do your paper piecing on here, because again, some paper piecing can be done where you're doing it onto the back of a double-sided sheet, which has got obviously then all your glue on and frankly fairly easy to do. But in this case, we're going to do it with just placing a few pieces, and that will need a fine-tipped glue dispenser so that we can just do that. So I'm just trying to put glue on the edge, but as many places as I can to try and get that to stay stuck down. So turn that over, and I'm going to do it so that it's as central as one can, but also so that we've got some of the pieces hanging over the edges. So the deer little head will be hanging over the pieces. Okay, so that's all ready to go. Just take this. So now I'm going to bring back in with my thing here. So we've got a flower. Now, they probably need a little bit of persuasion first. I say persuasion. I'm just going to pick them up very, very slightly. And so I've picked them up with a pokey tool, so just sort of loosen them. But then I've got my pick-up tool that is going to work alongside. So I'm trying to see. Let's do it like that. So I'm going to take this flower and I'm going to put a little dab of glue onto each of those 5 panels. I'm going to pick that up and pop that directly into there. You could do this obviously with tweezers or, well, fingers, but that would be a bit of a palaver, would it not? Oh, now I'll stop talking. Got to concentrate now. So there you can see your first flower is done, which I think looks quite nice. Gives it just that little bit of an extra. So as I said, as you work round, you can decide where you want to go. I quite like the idea of my little robin having a bit of a red breast down there. So I'm going to just pick that up from my robin here. And as I'm working around, that's how I'm going to do. So I'm now going to come down to this flower here. 5 pieces. Let's see if they didn't need to pick that up this time. So it sort of keeps all the pieces in place. Paper piecing is not my favourite thing to do, and the reason being is because there's so many little pieces that I end up not knowing which piece should go in where and getting muddled. But if they are still in place, like these ones are, you just pick them up from one and put them into another. That I can manage. Oh, she says, get in when you're told. So there's my next flower. Coming round to this flower. Got a big flower to do here now. You see, maybe, hopefully, you can see that that piece there is over the top, or over the edge rather. So subsequently, if I didn't have the frame flat, now I would be worried whether it would actually find somewhere to stick to. So just picking all these pieces up. And as I said, these sorts of frames, or these picture frames, as I would call them, they lend themselves to this really quite nicely. So where have we got another one? Another one up the top here. So just again, pop the glue in, and you can see that down those bottom pieces, there wouldn't be anywhere to stick if I had put this up. I might need to stick loosen these. Just, you can see that they have cut. It's just wanting to pick them up properly. And because we haven't got to think about it, it goes straight into the slot, and there's that little bit of glue there ready and waiting to stick it to as well. A little bit like the dotty designs that you may have. Do you remember those? I think they still sell them, but again, not something that I have done for quite some time. Do we need the bird? Do we need the owl with his, I think we do need to have the owl with his, well, robin redbreast. He's hardly a robin, is he? Just loosen these. Just, again, you could do these in any colour that you like, but I think that this colour, the red and the gold, looks good for Christmas. And as I said, probably looks good for the children. Now, these could be clever or disaster. Oh, no. No. Oh, come here. Oh dear, now I found something that I like. Oh, I don't think I picked his mouth up then. Let's pick that up. Oh gosh, that's a tiny little bit, isn't it? Oh, well, let's pick him up again properly. Turn him round. Oh, they never want to stay where you want them to stay, do they? No, this was ambitious. This was ambitious. I've got to turn that round the other way. And then pop that in. Oh, look at that. That's looking quite nice, isn't it? Hold on. Yeah, I know what you mean about the paper piecing. I have chosen a more difficult one to show you, to be fair. But if you're a quilting person, they do a lot of paper piecing there, don't they? But it's just a case of kind of like following the pattern, really. Let me just, I have got a quick, sneaky way to show you to sort of do it all in a second. Because we could shadow it as well, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So we're almost there. Oops. Yeah. So, I will be back here. I'm not gone yet, but I'm just saying that I will be back here on Wednesday evening, but it will be a recorded one because I'm going to take my daddy away for a few days. So I will be around, but we go. But not completely. So subsequently, it will be a recorded one, and it was recorded, or will be, sorry, recorded with a view to showing you how to put lights into the Lynn's treat box. I thought we would do some of that. Now, this one here, obviously I haven't taken all the pieces out, but I'm just going to pull it off now, and you'll obviously then see that you have got the whole frame as it is. Now, again, you need to just remove these pieces. But if you have cut, which I have done, another frame in gold, another sort of cheat way of doing this would be such that you would cut the red frame, cut the gold frame, and do a bit of shadowing behind it, because that can make it look as if it's all been coloured as well. So let me just take the worst of it off, and you'll see what I mean by that. Obviously you could take, or you would take all of these pieces off. And you may want to put in some of the baubles. In this particular one, lots of different things that you could use. So you could use it on your own. You could paper piece. I think paper piecing is like this is fine if you want to be able to highlight some of it, but it was keeping it in place that was the problem for me. So I've cut it in gold, I've cut it in the red, and if I just pop the gold over the top of the red and show you on the back of here, you will see that that gives you, just shadowing it over very, very fractionally, that gives you that little red tinge as well. So if you were to put it on your black card and everything, it would look very, very nice like that too. Might do that in a second. So I've also already cut out a couple of my sentiments. I'm going for the one sending much love, because whilst it is a Christmassy one, we don't always have to do a Christmassy one. Just going to pop a bit of glue onto my mat. Roll the glue bottle into it. That wasn't supposed to happen. And I'm just going to pick up the glue. Yes, I'm putting it all onto my car, onto the front. Haven't lost the plot, don't worry, because I want to stick this one over the top of it. I'm just going to start off by getting one side popped onto it evenly, and then the other side is easier just to pop in as well. I do find with some of these sentiments, they're so fine that they do tend to bend the card out of shape, but it's very easy just to put it back in again. So then I'm going to add a bit more glue onto, and don't forget I'm working on a silicone mat, but if you had a glass mat, you could do much the same. People can also pop it onto the back of their hands as well, but that's not always ideal for everybody. So my sentiment is just going to go into the center here. And as I said, a really pretty little card for maybe more so the children, but we could go to town with it as well. So let me just show you how I would do that other piece. So I'm just going to get a piece of the antique copper again. Oh, let me find what I've done with my antique copper. Yeah. To show you how I made the frame there again. So I will make the frame up. Just under 14. So make that into a square. Like so. And then I just took one of my nesting squares, depending on how wide you want that frame. I went for a bit wider than that, so we'll go for that one, a But you can check as you go. If you were to put that over the top, how that would look, which I think would look quite nice. So we'll use that. So I simply pop that in the centre, a little bit of glue. More or less, don't have to be majorly correct there, to be honest. Pop this through. Somebody commented the other day about how loud my die cutting machine was. Apologies if it is, though I can't say I've ever seen a quiet one, as an electric one. Of course, that makes a difference if it's not electric. But it's a bit of a workhorse, you know, my machine, really. It's a bit of a workhorse. So there's my card. Leaning over to get myself a card base, 7x7 card base. So this one I'm just going to do without the paper piecing. So it's going to be like that. So glue onto this bit. And again, it was a 15x15 frame there. But this piece, I'm going to put some of the foam onto. This piece was about 14x14. So I'm going to grab myself some 2mm foam and pop this onto the back. So it will lift it up just this fraction. Which I think gives it a nice look, but as you hopefully could see, it wasn't really ideal to do that if you were doing it from with paper piecing. But as I'm not going to do this one with paper piecing, that's fine. I'm just removing the backing of the foam. And pop this here. Now, I'm just going to pop that so that's sitting up, as we said. And then our two frames here, just going to off-centre them very, very slightly. Really ought to pick out the last few bits, though, of the major. So I'm going to pop glue onto this bit. And then we've got, I'm not putting it on everywhere, as you can see, but I'm just going to put it on so that we've got enough for it to stick. But I'm going to off-centre it so that we can still see that red through it, but not so much that it's sort of in your face, if you see what I mean. Okay, can you see those red bits? Don't want that red bit there, or that red bit there. I've left some of the centres of the flowers in and that sort of thing. And then I'm simply going to pop glue back onto the outer piece again and pop it onto my card. So you can do this sort of framing, and there's quite a lot on the market of this type of thing. I've seen some more that I think we will try and get hold of because they are very quick and easy cards for this type of thing. So don't forget, this one is the one that's been raised up slightly, and we're just going to pop that, no paper piecing, but just that hint of the red behind it. Hope you can see that. Yeah. So you can see that you've got that red tinge to it. Hopefully you can anyway. You can as I think you can as I move it around. So it's just a case of which would you fancy doing, or a tip really of how to do your paper piecing if that's what you fancy, or one like that. Needs a sentiment. Better just cut that. Can't have it without a sentiment, can we? I'm going to just do an ordinary Christmas one into that. So yeah, there is your 2 different cards from the same thing today. Now, if you are able to join me, hopefully. Oh, should have put a bit of tape on it, and I didn't, so it didn't cut it out properly. If you're able to join me, do hope you can on Wednesday evening at 6 o'clock. When, as I said, I'm showing you how to put the lights into the Lynn's treat box. I saw that was sort of like one of the most popular things, and I have been asked, 2 or 3 people have contacted me and asked if I could show you how to do such a thing. And I have to say, in terms of putting the lights onto anything, that little treat box is just the easiest one to do that I think I've ever done, really, because it's just the kind of right shape for to be able to do such a thing. So that's what Wednesday is all about. And then, of course, if you can't make Wednesdays live, you've got the YouTube channel as always, which of course you are all subscribed to. Just pop in that glue. Got to finish the card, haven't we? Just going to put that Merry Christmas with Dry's Clear Glue because it looks a mess whilst I've done that. There. Okay, so that's a proper Christmas card. That's a sending much love card, but both of them, I think, would look nice on any mantelpiece come Christmas Day. So thank you very much for joining me today. Have a great day. It's a lovely sunny day here today, and I hope it is where you are. I hope you're all well. I know some of you aren't. I'm sending all my love to those people, and I look forward to hopefully you joining me on Wednesday with lots of the other ideas that I've got there with that treat box for you. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me. Take care, everyone. Bye.